Hi guys, hope you're all good. So, basically, I asked you guys if you wanted to ask me any questions. You've posted some on Twitter with hashtag BRealTVQA. And also I've got a few YouTube comments, I think. I haven't really checked my YouTube ones out, but I know I've got a good few on Twitter. But yeah, so let's start. So the first question, by don't know, should I give out names? I don't know. Right. Yeah, who cares, man? Haroon Hussein. Sham, do you think there will be Mayweather versus Pacquiao 2? Yeah, I do. I think that after Floyd Mayweather's fight in September, 49-0, I think he'll take a Pacquiao fight 50-0 because Pacquiao's not going uphill. He's only going to go downhill, whereas if he fights another young lion in 2016, sorry, it could be dangerous for Mayweather. So I think this will be his riskiest fight is going to be in September, and then we're going to see probably a rematch between Mayweather and Pacquiao in 2016, and that will be the end of it. And I think it's a good way to end his career. Okay. Hi Sham, it's your old friend Stephen Broom. So, question: 2 years from now, who do you believe will be the heavyweight champion of the world? Wow, okay, you put me on a spot. Okay, because I like Deontay Wilder and I know him. I like Fury and I've done interviews several times with him and I'm really cool with the Fury camp. And Anthony Joshua, I've done an interview with him and he's a really cool guy. Who do I think will be the heavyweight champion in 2 years? Um, I'm gonna have to go with. Oh man, it's really difficult. It's one out of the three. I really, honestly, you put me on the spot here. I'm gonna have to say Tyson Fury. I'm gonna have to say Tyson Fury. Um, Deontay's good as well. I really don't know. I think they're both great fighters. Anthony Joshua's really good as well, but I'm gonna have to go with Tyson. I think that Tyson's a really good boxer and he's yet to show us his best. People see the body fat on him and think, yeah, we can't fight, but you see, aesthetics don't mean everything in boxing, especially not in heavyweights. In heavyweight boxing, if you have too much fat, you know, obviously, like it's not optimal to have body fat. But people look at Tyson and they think, oh, he's a bum, he jokes around. Tyson is a really good boxer. I feel he can box really well. I feel that Deontay Wilder's got knockout power, but on the elite level, he still has knockout power at the elite level, but not as devastating as he will against the lesser opposition, obviously. So I'm gonna have to go with Tyson Fury. Anthony Joshua's not proven, so I can't choose him over the other two. But I do think Anthony Joshua could potentially be heavyweight champion 2 years. But I'm gonna go with Tyson Fury based upon what we've got at the moment. Also, why are you so harsh towards MMA? They both require just as much skill and heart. Um, the reason I'm not keen on mixed martial arts is because of the cosmetics of it, because of the whole aesthetics of the thing. It's I feel like the talent pool in mixed martial arts is not as big as people think. I think that over the years, boxing has become a worldwide sport, and there's a lot of MMA gyms out there, but like if you look at MMA fighters, firstly, right, a lot of them come from Brazilian jiu-jitsu, kickboxing. They come from different backgrounds, and then they incorporate the secondary stuff. Um, I don't think there's anybody who is just becomes a mixed martial artist. But the thing is, like, what I don't like about it is is boring. It competes with boxing, so I'm a boxing fan first and foremost. It requires heart. As does it require as much as boxing? I'm gonna tell you right now, no. I've done some sparring in mixed martial arts in the past. Just not too much, but I've done some. And I'm gonna say the main thing I realized when I did the difference between MMA and boxing, in my opinion, is that boxing is harder because you have to stay on your feet. You can't drop. That's the whole aim. You can't drop. I felt MMA was more technical, to be honest, on the ground. I felt that for me, boxing is very technical standing up, but I know more about boxing than I do mixed martial arts. So for me, on the ground, like getting into positions, it's all just skill. It's not really that much power involved when you're on the ground. There's some power involved, but I really feel like it's mostly technique. And I'm not a fan of watching Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Like, to compare boxing and MMA is one thing, like stand-up fighting, but to compare boxing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, there is no comparison, because who watches BJJ? Really, it's a really small sport. Mixed martial arts is only there because of the stand-up fighting, and I'm a fan of stand-up fighting, whether that's kicks, punches, whatever, elbows. I'm not a fan of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu on the ground watching it. I don't mind if you know, like, I've learned a bit about it, and it's good to know how to, you know, do a few arm locks in case you get into a street fight. It's really, like, most street fights, you know, boxing doesn't help you that much in a street fight because most fights end up on the floor. I'm kind of going a bit off tangent here, but most fights go on the floor, and you're gonna have to do arm locks and stuff. Like, if you know that stuff, it's really good. But the reason I'm so harsh towards it is really it competes with boxing. I don't think it's as pleasing to the eye, and I think the fan base of UFC are really, I don't like the beast mode, or he's a beast, he's not. I hate that. You see a lot of losers walking around with their tap out t-shirts. Not a huge fan of watching it. I'll watch a few. I like Ronda Rousey, but I liked Anderson Silva and St. George Pierre, but apart from that, I'm not a big fan of it. I think I just don't like the whole cosmetic of it. How can a country like Pakistan, oh my god, produce talented boxers? What do they need to achieve, in your opinion? Well, I think like countries like Pakistan, right, Afghanistan, even Iraq, the Arab countries, I think they have a lot of strong, like, people don't know, but like Pathans over there, like, you've heard of Afghanistan. Them guys have like survived a lot of wars in the past, and they got big heart. They're very, very strong people. I've seen that, you know, my own eyes. But I think like with boxing's more skillful. It's not as much brute force, and although that does play a part, you know, like we look at Mexicans are really strong. I think that boxing's an art form and a skill, and I think not just Pakistan, I think that maybe like the Philippines, China needs to get bigger, and that will automatically spread over to India, Pakistan, Afghanistan, mainly Afghanistan, Iraq area, where the Pathans are, you know, where in them regions. If boxing starts up there, I think you need to build up the amateur level and the professional level. You need gyms there. There's no gyms in them countries. But anyway, Amir Khan's next opponent after Algeria. What do you think of Saddam Ali rise to the top? Amir Khan's next opponent, I think, is going to be Floyd. I think Floyd Mayweather Jr. will fight Amir. He was kind of promised to fight, and he's been promised to fight for a long time. It's been building. It's already promoted in a way. Not really much to do to promote the fight. I think it'll be Floyd Mayweather next. Saddam Ali, I think Saddam Ali's a good fighter. He's got a lot to prove yet, but I think he's solid. I think he could use a little bit more punching power. He can bang a little bit, but he doesn't have that hard punching power. He's not a big 147, he's not a small 147 in my opinion. I just don't think he's very strong at the weight, but I think he's got tons of skill. He's got all the skill. He's one of the most skillful fighters in boxing, and I think he'll be a lot of the top 10 fighters, to be honest with you. What made you start a YouTube channel, and have you boxed before? Keep up the good work. I boxed in the amateurs going back when I was quite young. I only had a few fights. I won them all, but there was, to be honest with you, there were only a few fights, and you know what I mean, amateur level, the bums. I then went abroad, chilled out for a month or so, came back, didn't get back into it, and as I got older, eventually got into weightlifting. But I always stay I always like to go to gyms and have a spar with lads sometimes, different gyms, and have a bit of a box, and you know, I like it. Like, I haven't got the stamina that I once did. Like, I'm a pressure fighter now. I was a lot different when I was younger. I know more about the sport now, but yeah. And what made me start a YouTube channel? My YouTube channel, damn, I just started doing videos, man. I just started and like started talking about boxing. I just love boxing, and that's what started it off. What is the current situation with the 147-pound belts? Man, I can't even tell you. I know Al Haymon's, like, I heard Al Haymon's bringing out his own belt. It's all over. The sanctioning bodies are all over the place. 147, I'll be here for ages trying to explain what's going on with the 147 belts. Too much going on. He says, don't. Okay, so mandatory. Amir Khan is, yeah, he is mandatory for the WBC green belt. But obviously, if Floyd vacates, which he hasn't done yet, then they're not fighting for that belt. But Floyd might not vacate that belt. Amir Khan in 2016. I think in 2016, it really depends on what happens in September. I think he'll get past Algeria comfortably, and then I think he gets a Floyd fight in September. If he performs really, really well against Floyd and he makes Floyd look stupid at times, if he beats Floyd and dominates Floyd, I mean, it's boxing, man. We've seen crazier things happen, but I mean, if Amir Khan did dominate Floyd, he would clearly just shoot to the pound for pound, like top 5 rankings over with that one fight, and he'd be the next kingpin of boxing. If he loses against Floyd, looks rubbish. He's another fighter. I think with Amir Khan in his future in 2016, my opinion, I can't say. I feel that if he beats Floyd, just edges Floyd a little bit and wins, if he just can beat Floyd somehow, it totally changes what 2016 is going to look like. If he loses, he could still be a kingpin, but he has to beat the likes of Thurman and BROOK. I think they're 2 fighters in 2016 he's going to have to face, and we're going to see how he deals with them fighters. 2016 will be a big year for Amir. I feel he's going to have to take the big fights. You know what I mean? It's not even the big fights. He's taking big fights now. It's the Thurman and the BROOK fight, the risky fights, and I feel Thurman is a very risky fight, more than BROOK. I don't think BROOK is as risky as Keith. I think Thurman's a very difficult fight stylistically for Amir. Let me see what we're at time-wise. Oh, dang. I think I'm going to have to split this into 2 videos, but anyway, right. Who do you think will get the big fights first, Triple G or Thurman? I think definitely Keith Thurman. I think Keith Thurman's up there with, like, he's fought good fighters already. He's fought Guerrero, he's fought Diego Chavez. He's a threat to the 147 division, but, I mean, the 147 division is so stacked, so therefore he will get more fights. Triple G, he's banking on Cotto and Canelo. That's going to be a while yet. I don't think that's going to happen straight away. iPhone or Samsung? Had both. iPhone now. Who do you think would win? Amir Khan and Prince Naseem Hamed. Personally, I think Prince would have knocked him out and has accomplished way more in his career than Khan has so far. Prince Naseem, well, firstly, the different weight classes. If they were the same weight class, I'd have to say Naz by knockout. But who do I think's accomplished more? I think Amir's accomplished more. I think Amir Khan has faced much better opposition than Prince Naseem. Prince Naseem only faced Kevin Kelly, Augie Sanchez, Barrera, and lost. Whereas Amir Khan, his resume is a lot stronger. But who wins in a fight? Prince Naseem Hamed. I felt that Prince Naseem, he did more for boxing though, outside of the ring as well, with the dynamics and everything, and he will be remembered. Amir Khan is still building his legacy. He's yet to peak, but in terms of who's fought the better fighters, I'd have to say Naz. I'd have to say Khan, but I feel that Naz he would beat Amir. I feel that he's done more for boxing. I don't think it's just all in the ring what you do. I think it's what you do outside, and definitely Naz. Man, too many Amir Khan questions, man. Right, that's it for YouTube. I'll just jump on the Twitter ones. Who wins, Amir Khan versus Keith Thurman? Ooh. Man, it's difficult because we haven't seen Amir Khan at 147 or how he takes a punch. You have to go with Amir Khan on points. I think Keith Thurman is definitely, if someone's going to beat Amir, it's going to be Keith by knockout. I think he will land that right hand at some point. I think Amir Khan will go down in the fight, but I think like under Virgil, Amir Khan's more tactical in his approach. Keith Thurman, no man, I don't know, man. That's a hard fight. That's a hard one to call out. Maybe Keith Thurman by knockout. Hard to say. I'll tell you straight, Keith Thurman's one of the guys I picked to beat Amir. But this moment in time, you have to say Amir, because Keith, he's lost rounds against Diego Chavez. If it goes 12, Amir wins. Can Amir survive 12 against Thurman? That's the thing. I think he can. I think when we've seen him against Maidana and under so many pressure fights, I think he'll know what to do. By now, he has to have learned what to do. We saw it against Julio Diaz, even though it's a dead fighter, but he looked good against Sean Porter. But on a whole, Thurman is a different beast to what's his name, Julio Diaz. But I think Amir Khan's improved a lot, more built up at 147, heavy now as well. Big guy, he's a big lad at 147 at the moment, Amir. So you have to go with Amir because we've seen him like survive against Maidana, survive against Peterson. Keith is more of a knockout artist. He places his shots better. But I think Khan will go down, but I think he gets up off the canvas and goes 12 and wins a close fight, and he will get dissed about it. I think like similar how people diss Amir about the Maidana fight, all heart, but people will say, oh, you dropped, but you've got to remember these guys are killers he's in against. Okay, there's a question here. It's top 7 welterweights. Well, obviously Mayweather, Pacquiao 1 and 2. I'd say Kell Brook. Nah, man. Who else? This is hard because it's on the top of my head, but I'd have to say Kell Brook has to come at number 3, even though he hasn't faced no one at... No. Keith Thurman's probably at number 3. Keith Thurman's at number 3 because he beat Robert Guerrero and Diego Chavez, who are badass fighters. Man, Timothy Bradley, Marquez, where do they come? I think then we'll go with Timothy Bradley. I think then you go with Juan Manuel Marquez, even though he's kind of inactive. Then we go with Kell Brook. Then we go with Amir. And then the tail, basically, and the rest of it starts. I think the reason I put Kell above Amir is because Amir's probably higher on the pound-for-pound list. But in terms of 147, Kell Brook's like more established 147, beat more 147 fighters, so you have to put him above in the 147 rankings. Amir has to beat some legit welterweights before he earns that spot. See where we're at time-wise. You know what, I'm just going to let it roll, keep rolling. Okay, so, yeah, that's kind of like my top 10 list, man. It's difficult to give up top of my head, but yeah. Stylistically, it's my boy Sherry. How would you see Khan versus Brook going down? Gives a breakdown. There's why so many Khan questions? I think because I'm Asian. Anyway, right? Amir Khan, Kell Brook. I think what happens in that fight, right? I think things you have to take into consideration is when the fight happens. If the fight happens a lot later, it plays more into Kell Brook's favour because Kell Brook gets more experience. At the moment, Kell is very inexperienced on the elite level. He's only fought one elite level fight, which is Sean Porter. Beat Sean Porter just by a bit, not convincingly. We've never seen Kell Brook look like a very dominant, convincing fighter. Sean Porter was a good fight, but it wasn't a convincing, dominant, I washed him out win against an elite level 147 fighter. We've seen him wash up the lower level fighters, but I mean power at elite level. I mean, Kell Brook went 12 against Sean Porter, so I think his power is a little bit overrated. But I think his boxing is slightly underrated about Kell Brook. That's the thing about Kell. But I think like if Amir Khan and Kell Brook fight, I don't think the power will disrupt Khan that much because, like I say, elite level power. And I mean, we saw when Pacquiao stepped down a slight level, he like was whacking Algeria all over the ring. Step up a level, you can't knock the guys out. That's why Mayweather and Pacquiao haven't had knockouts in so long. Khan, his chin is suspect, right? We have to say suspect. I don't mean it's bad, it's suspect. But the thing is, at 147, he looks strong to me. I think he could take shots. Do I think Kell Brook hits harder than Collazo? Yeah, I do. Do I think he hits a lot harder than Collazo? No, I don't. I don't think he hits that much harder than Collazo. I mean, Kell Brook has to face elite level fighters and knock them out. Keith Thurman's a big banger. Kell Brook I don't think is as hard a hitter. I think he's got like some good power, bang, bang, good solid power in his punches. But I don't think like, I mean, when Amir Khan stepped down a level, if Amir Khan was to step down a level and fight Jojo Dan and the guys Brooks faced at 147, this Amir Khan, I mean, Ireland did knock out a lot of them. But I think Kell Brook at 147 has done more. I think Kell Brook, if he's going to win, it has to be by knockout. I think he knocks Amir out. Same thing as I said about Thurman. I don't think Kell Brook can finish Amir. I think Amir's going to be very difficult to finish off. He gets up, he's got heart. He's hard to keep down, and that's the thing about Amir. And boxing-wise, apart from Mayweather, no one's going to outbox him at 147, especially nobody. Maybe Andre Ward would outbox him. Gennady Golovkin, maybe a few other fighters. But in terms of boxing, no one's outboxing him. You have to knock him out in the distance, otherwise he's winning on points. And do I think Kell Brook can do that? Nah. Generally, who do you think wins between Khan and Mayweather? If Khan brings his A game to the table under Virgil, I've always said Amir, but you know what? I'm saying Floyd right now because I think Floyd... I saw some stuff in the Pacquiao fight which I didn't think Mayweather has anymore. I thought he had it when he was young, but I think it's disappeared. I think the control of range for Floyd, I think that his timing is perfect, and I think he's going to land the punches that matter, and I think he's going to have access to the shoulder roll because Khan's orthodox. But Khan will throw a lot of combinations. He will make it interesting, but I think Mayweather adjusts after 6. I don't think he wins early rounds like he does against Pacquiao. I think Khan will win the early rounds. And if Mayweather gets a knockdown anywhere in the fight, it's a 10-8 round, and in a 12-round fight, that really matters. I think Floyd will win on a close, very close fight. And I think Amir Khan is going to give Floyd some serious beats in a few rounds. But I think Floyd Mayweather wins in a close, unanimous decision fight. Okay, so go in depth about Kell Brook and Khan. Like I says, yeah, I've already explained the Kell Brook and Khan situation, but I just think Kell Brook's good. He's got the power, but at the elite level, can he knock Amir out? I don't know. I don't think so. Straight up, I think Amir's got more experience. He's got more speed. Both have got timing. Amir's got timing now under Virgil. I think Amir has the better camp and better sparring partners. Although Kell Brook's camp is the Ingle camp, which is a very, very unique and brilliant, excellent camp. Power-wise, Kell Brook. Body shots-wise, Amir. Chin-wise, Kell Brook. You have to weigh in a lot of factors, and when you factor in everything, you have to say, I think Amir wins on unanimous decision against Kell Brook. I don't think Kell Brook... I think Kell Brook will go in with the game plan to knock Amir out, but if you do that, you're going to give up rounds, and I think he'll get behind on the scorecards, and then he's going to be chasing too much, and he won't be able to catch up, and Kell won't be able to finish it, because Amir will be on the back foot, whereas if Amir's not going to go forward against Kell, he'll be on the back foot, and I think he just wins unanimous decision with his hands up. Do you see anyone beating Triple G at 160? No, not at 160. I think at catchweight, maybe Canelo. Lara would beat him out. No, sorry, Lara wouldn't beat him. Ward would beat him. I think the only guy who can beat him in the low weight classes, 154, 160, is Canelo Alvarez. But I think it has to happen at a catchweight if Canelo wins. I don't think Canelo beats Triple G when Triple G is at 160. I think if he gets brought down even 2 pounds, 3 pounds, Canelo wins that fight for me. I think Canelo's very skillful, more skillful than he's given credit for. When he fights Triple G, he'll be very conscious of defense, and he can counterpunch very well. Can Triple G take it? He's taken against fighters so far, but can he take it off Canelo? That's what we've got to see. We know Canelo can take it. How much do you see the weight playing a factor in Porter's performance against Broner? 2 seconds, let me see. Right, Porter Broner. I think that's where the fight lies. I did a video on Porter and Broner. I think I won't know who's gonna win this fight until the weigh-in day. If Porter's drained, if Porter's weak, Broner wins. If Broner looks strong and big, if Broner looks like just normal Adrian Broner, not in good shape, and Sean Porter looks like Sean Porter, you know what I mean? Porter will just do him, and I think it all relies upon the weight and what weight the fight's at. I believe it's at 144. That makes a big difference. That plays in Broner's hands a lot. Khan versus Thurman, who wins? Like I said, Thurman by knockout, Khan by points, but I'm going to go with Khan on points. I think he's a very resilient fighter. How do you see Mayweather's role in boxing being once he has finished in his in-ring career? Very good question. I think Floyd Mayweather Jr. has to change his demeanour. He can't be that brash individual. He has to be very smart. He has to speak for the boxing community. He represents the boxing community, and whether he likes it or not, that's his role, and he has to be more grown up about things. I think that him and Manny Pacquiao are the faces of boxing, both of them, and I think with Mayweather going to the Philippines, and if he helps Pacquiao do some charity work and they make up, and I think it's good for boxing. I think it's good. They are representatives of the sport. And I think Mayweather's not going to be a brilliant promoter. He's been a crap promoter so far with what he's done. I think he's good for himself, but he hasn't got no good fighters. I don't think they've got a good eye for fighters, to be dead honest, because we've not seen any. Why is Golovkin scared of Cuban school boxers? He ducked Lara and Quillin, now Ishe. Well, to be dead honest, he'd kick Ishe's header in around everywhere. He'd kick Quillin's ass, and he'd knock the hell out of Lara. Triple G ain't scared of nothing. He's a good person to cut off the ring. I mean, the guy who beats him for me is a guy who can really bang him and counter punch him. For me, that's Canelo. It has to be at a catchweight. Andrew Ward can outskill him. Apart from that, nah, nobody. They ain't scared of them guys. Your opinion on the Dark Lord Al Haymon allegedly introducing a PBC belt? Oh man, I love this question. And creating a more UFC-like organization. I think it's very bad. I'm not a believer in monopolies. I think monopolies is what's ruined the world in terms of corporations owning and controlling the world. And it's like everybody, society now, and the way we think, everything that we do, from the way we dress, the watches we wear, to the way we act, to the way we're ignorant to what's going on in the world, to everything is all to do with monopolies. And I think Al Haymon will carry out a similar thing in boxing, where he will have no, if he creates a monopoly, but which I don't think he'll be able to do now because a lot of lawsuits going on. But he's very clever because he's a Harvard graduate. I think it'll promote the sport more, but we're not going to see. And it's good for the boxers. It's not good for the fans. It's a new dynamic we've got. You'll see a lot of things where Lamont Peterson is on the card, Danny Garcia is on the card. Hell, they'll even give you Amir, Kell Brook, and flipping, I don't know, oh no, not Kell Brook, Keith Thurman on the card. But you ain't going to see them fighting each other, and that's what you're going to see. That's what boxing's going to become with Al Haymon. It needs top rank of Golden Boy to, let the fighters fight. Al Haymon takes 10 years to let his fighters fight. He'll make them fight bums, make them money, and then let them fight before they take a loss. Is Klitschko going to fight Fury? Yeah, he's going to fight Fury. I think he's going to fight Fury in the UK, and I think that's going to be a very competitive fight. I think maybe Tyson Fury maybe loses, but very close fight. Maybe he wins, but either way, very close fight. Shami analysis is on cue, different level. If Khan ended up fighting Mayweather, oh my god, I'm not been masking answering that. Will PBC belts come into effect, and do you think PBC will go to the UFC route? Oh, I forgot to answer the UFC part. It's another question, but a good question. No, I don't think boxing should go to the UFC route, because UFC has not done very well. It had a little peak and it's declined. If you look at the statistics of UFC, it went up and it's gone down. It's relying upon Ronda Rousey right now to carry it. Ronda Rousey's doing well, but apart from that, UFC ain't that big. It's copied boxing's blueprint, in my opinion. I really think it has, and I think boxing needs to be its own sport. I think what boxing needs to do is go, and I think Al Heyman's doing a very good job of this. It needs to have HBO, Showtime, and I think Golden Boy, Top Rank, carrying doing their thing. Showtime will eventually decrease with the fights that they've got on there, because, where are they going to get fights from? Al Heyman, on the other hand, needs to continue, in my opinion, to build boxing to the mainstream public and really take the fighters back to where it used to be with Muhammad Ali and them guys. I think Deontay Wilder's going to play a key role in this if he can really put on dominant performances in the heavyweight division. Really get boxing back into a mainstream sport, but also keeping it monetized in terms of HBO and Showtime as well. I think that's very important. PBC belt, I'm not a fan of. Why? Because I think if you have a PBC belt, a Premier Boxing Champions belt, it's all in-house, it's all monopolized, and you do what you want, control the sport. I don't think it's going to be allowed. I think there's too much competition and there'll be lawsuits like we're seeing now with Golden Boy. Will Al Haymon get Khan the big fight, Floyd or a title fight? Yeah, I do. Who would you like to see Triple G fight next? I think Triple G is real deal, but that doesn't mean that he's going to be undefeated forever. I think he loses against Canelo or Cotto or Ward. He doesn't necessarily lose to all of them or any one particular eye to grab. He will lose to one, in my opinion. I don't think he beats all three. I don't think the chances of that. I mean, he hasn't fought anyone who was really, really, really good yet, and anyone can look dominant and knock out the guys he's knocking out. And not anyone can knock them out, but you can be an elite level fighter and be knocking guys out, but when you step up, you can't knock them out. Who wins, Cotto or Alvarez? I think Alvarez bangs Cotto. I think he'll smash him. I think Cotto will use his footwork and whatnot. Canelo will cut off the ring, and at the times when Canelo will struggle, and when Canelo struggles to like catch up, and Cotto will be bang bang. I think that's the point where we're gonna see what's what. But if Cotto comes forward trying to just bang Alvarez head off, I think either way Canelo bangs him. I think Canelo's smart. I think Canelo's range is good, and he will counterpunch Cotto nicely. And Cotto's getting older, and by the time the fight happens, Cotto's gonna be very old, and Canelo will take him out young gun, healthy, strong. Comment section below, subscribe as always. Let me know what you think. Please give it a thumbs up if you want another video like this. In a bit, guys.